Dig that. Today we're enjoying the convivial company of this couple of charmers.
Philip, Sarah, we meet again. I said that almost as if we're a nemesis.
Blimey, it sounds like our experts, Natasha Raskin-Sharp and Philip Cyril, are getting straight down to business.
Well, we've done this once, haven't we?
We have, yes.
Do you remember who won?
You won.
Could you say that again?
You won.
Just one more time for me.
Resounding victory.
Yay!
Yes, this isn't their first rodeo together.
Oh, hello. Hi, I'm Tasha.
Last time out, auctioneer and fine art expert Natasha was still a bit new to all of this.
I don't have a clue what I'm looking for.
Whereas auctioneer and old hand Philip...
What was the other thing I was think of?
Well, I don't think he's ever been wet behind the ears.
I'm here to seek my revenge.
I think you will as well.
Their set of wheels for this jaunt is this 1964 Sunbeam Alpine in signal red.
Yeah, that's what. There's another one in there somewhere.
Hold on.
Yeah.
There we go.
They've each got a starting budget of £200, and they kick off this trip amidst the stunning vistas of the Lincolnshire Wolds.
Lincolnshire is lovely, but it's kind of flat, isn't it?
Well, it's very beautiful.
It's
and
flat, isn't it?
We both got the memo to wear some striped linen. So
Yeah,
that's
absolutely
a good
right. Yeah.
Our matching pair begin this trip in the east, taking a bit of Suffolk, head up the middle to Yorkshire, and arrive at a final auction on the west coast at St Anne's-on-Sea. For our first jaunt, we'll be mostly lingering in Lincolnshire, ending up at an auction in Little Bytham. But we'll start off in the capital of the Wolds.
Where we are specifically, is it Louse or is it Luth?
Louth.
Louse like mouth?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes, it's Louth.
Silly Cyril. The Densians are fiercely proud of their many independent specialist grocers, and it's a good place for setting your watch too, as the town sits on the Greenwich Meridian.
Do I get to drive?
You've been such a good boy.
You're going to let me drive? Thank the Lord for that.
The Old Maltings is Natasha's first port of call. Lots of different dealers in here, all independent, of course. Anything she can make a case for? Exhibit A.
I have bought a barrister's gown on the Antiques Road trip before. Here you have not only a gown, but it's case as well. It's tin enamelled case by probably... Now, I just want to quickly say that I dropped out of a law degree, so I'm not the best person to ask, but I think the maker of barristers and judges' gowns and wigs and that sort of thing, Eade and Ravenscroft of London. It says Eade and Son, robe makers to Her Majesty. Now, I would be surprised if that were to Her Majesty Queen Victoria. So I'm going to say that this is a 20th century... No, Am I going to say that? That's not going to be Victorian, is it?
You can almost hear the cogs whirring.
Maybe the gown and the tin were not made at the exact same time, because on the label here we have Eade and Ravenscroft, but here we just have Eade and Son. OK, I think I'm deciding that the tin is Victorian and that the gown is modern.
Good bit of detective work there, Tasha. Eade and Sons, robe makers merged with Ravenscroft, wig makers in 1902, so the tin definitely predates that. But the company can trace its roots all the way back to 1689, which Phil would say is very, very, very old.
I think that this name, this gown, this tin, put them together, I think they could do quite well at auction. I think they're quite fun. A price of £80? I think I might have a bash at that.
Well, while she considers the evidence, let's catch up with our lovely little Sunbeam. Car's not bad either.
Market Raisin, here I come, here I come.
Ready or not? For a spot of shopping down by the River Raise, where it's warm enough for a rare glimpse of the Cyril leg. Shorts and scarf together, eh? Oh.
Hello!
Well, it's a look.
Hi, I'm Philip. How are you?
How do you do? I'm Lynn.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
You've got a great shop here. Is it all right if I have a look round?
Please do.
I don't suppose you've got any glass, have you?
Just a few pieces.
Yep, World Antiques isn't short of the old silicon dioxide. Lots of other stuff, too, here to tempt our Phil to part with the £200 in his kitty.
These are interesting, look. These are silver-backed hairbrushes. And they're monogrammed. It would be really lovely if you knew who these belonged to. There's about 40 quid's worth of silver there. Oh, but that's interesting, because unless I'm mistaken, it's the same monogram on the back there. This is a shaving mirror. It's designed to be folded up, and it basically just sits like that. I don't want to break this because that'll be 7 years bad luck. I've already got enough of that.
Well, let's see if Lynn can change your fortunes.
This is interesting, isn't it? That monogram's the same as that monogram.
Yes.
It's the same person.
Yes, it's all from the same set.
This is like me. It's had a tough life, Lynn.
I know, but looks good on it.
Dear me, she's full of charm, this lady, I tell you. So what's the best you can do that lot for?
Rock bottom price would be 100 for the lot.
See, I don't think I can do that. Let me think about
What if I was to throw these in with it?
Blimey, this deal just keeps getting better.
These are lovely. They're French.
Yeah.
Mother of pearl, opera
Yeah.
glasses.
Yeah,
You've got a bit missing there, though, honey.
I know. But they're a must-have.
I'm never without mine when I go to the opera.
With the opera glasses, £90.
Let me have a wander and a think, my love.
Okie doke.
So, while he looks that gift horse in the mouth, what's the buzz back in Louth?
I'm all about the shape of these items. This is so cool. This is a vintage beekeeper's smoker, and I've never done beekeeping, and I really fancy it. So it works like a bellows, basically. You put in your coals, I guess, into this body section here, set it alight, close it over, allow the smoke to form, and then you just softly puff the smoke into the bee colony. You don't smoke them out, you just lull them into a nice, smoky, false sense of security. £35 is the price. Oh. No, I definitely want to have a bash at that. I think that's super cool. It's smoking.
Cool. She's on fire today. And she's not done yet.
You'll have seen something like this before, a Celtic design, a Scottish silversmith. In this instance, you have Robert Allison. Here you have a sword brooch, as it's described on the label, but I would say it's more of a kilt pin. It's marked up at £35. It is just a gorgeous Scottish thing. The only problem is that while I've been talking to you about it, I have clocked just down here another brooch on the shelf. So that's precious metal. This is not. It's brass. But I don't know, there's something about this that maybe stands out a bit more, because look at this woman. She's so 1930s. She is tall and lean, and of course that was very much reflected in the designs of the time. And what is mimicking her stance? This Afghan dog at the front. They are very Art Deco, they're very stylish, they're just not precious. The price on this one is £20. So the question is, do you want to go for precious metal, or do you want to go for a bit of brass? I don't know. I like them both. And do you know what I was thinking before I came here? I thought, I'm not going to buy a wee brooch. Looks like I'm going to buy a wee brooch.
Best laid plans and all that. Let's find someone in charge. Hello?
John, is it?
Yes, it is.
Tasha.
Hello, Tasha.
Lovely to see you. I've brought these little brooches out of the cabinet, but in fact I have a slightly longer wish list. There is a barrister's cloak and tin upstairs, and I love the wee bee smoker.
Right.
What about barrister's cloak and tin? £80 is the full price. Do you have any idea what the best price could be?
Yes, 65 I'll do on that.
The bee smoker's marked up at 35. Is there any manoeuvring on that? 30. OK, my big question is, am I going to go with a Robert Allison brooch, or am I going to go with the unknown entity? If I were to go for the brass brooch, £20,
yes,
fine by me. Let's just keep that £20. Am I here to play it safe, or am I here to take a risk?
Take a risk.
Take a risk. I'm going Afghan brooch, I'm going barrister's cloak and tin, and I'm going bee smoker. Let's call it £115.
That's fine.
Let's do it. Oh. John, thanks very much. That wasn't scary, was it?
No, not at all.
Not at all. Right, OK, I'm going
I'm
to...
a gibbering wreck now.
You did sterling work, John. That's Natasha off the blocks.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Back in Market Raisin, Phil's racking up an equally impressive shopping list. And he's still rummaging.
I absolutely love these. Now, that looks like a little pair of sugar tongs or something, but what this does, if you can imagine your 19th century gentleman who was perhaps a bit of a slovenly eater, he would clip that on there like that, And then you'd hook it into his collar, and it's a napkin holder. How cool is that? It'd be really lovely if it was silver, but I'll tell you what, let me have a look. This is really sad, because I've got old man's eyes. And you wouldn't think that, but they're the same age as the rest of me.
Happens to us all, Phil.
I think the time's come for me to go and have a deal with Lynn, so I don't quite know what I'm going to end up with yet, but we'll see.
He's already got a few things earmarked for the generous price of £90. Good luck, everyone.
Lynn.
Yes, Phil.
I like that. I don't know what your price tag on it is, and I don't want to know.
Right.
I want to give you 100 quid for that parcel and that. That's what I'd like to do.
You can't give me 110.
I'll give you 105 quid. There you are. And that's a deal done. You're an angel. Thank you very
No
much.
problem.
So that heavenly deal breaks down to £75 for the brushes and mirror and £15 each for the opera glasses and the napkin holder. So while he heads off as fast as his naked little legs can carry him, where's Natasha got to? She's heading southeast to the hamlet of Ailby and into the woods, where, in a clearing, she's here to find a strange little house and a woodcutter. I do hope she's left a trail of breadcrumbs and likes gingerbread.
Good afternoon.
Oh,
Hello, Robert.
Natasha, pleased
So
to
nice
meet
to
you.
meet you. Thank you very much for having me along. Tell me,
It is.
what are you doing right now?
I'm hewing a log into a beam with an axe.
Yeah, as simple as that.
Carpenter and mud mason Robert Lee creates and maintains buildings like this one, constructed using a traditional technique that is peculiar to Lincolnshire.
I have to say, it looks like something from a children's book, an illustration. What exactly am I looking at?
Well, it's a Lincolnshire mud and stud cottage, timber frame covered in mud, and all the timber frame was made like this.
So how long has mud and stud as a technique been used?
Well, the oldest mud and stud structure I've worked on is early 15th century, so it's been going a long time. There are about 500 left in the county, something like that.
Really?
And they must have lost thousands.
It looks to me like quite an environmentally friendly way of building houses.
I've not used any cement on that. I don't go to the builders' merchants. Everything's from here. It's a truly vernacular structure.
Whilst this building style is very local, the technique has travelled. In 1607, Captain John Smith, who was born in nearby Willoughby, voyaged to America and helped set up the first permanent English colony at Jamestown. Amongst his fellow settlers was another Lincolnshire man, carpenter William Laxon.
He was conversant with all this type of building, and they were the first buildings in Jamestown in America.
So if you go to Jamestown, Virginia today, will you see some of those original settlement buildings?
No, they're all gone, but they have made replicas.
Robert's been working on his own pied-à-terre on and off for the past 10 years. The main timber structure is completed, but there's still work to do. Let's go get your hands dirty, Natasha.
What's this building going to be?
These are going to be toilets.
Oh, fantastic. Well, everyone needs one,
That's
OK?
right.
OK, so this is obviously the mud.
Yes. So this is subsoil. We soak it and then mix it with barley straw.
Right, that's what's poking out of it.
Yes. Barley straw is strong and pliable.
It's a similar technique to the more widely known wattle and daub, which uses screens of woven wooden strips as a base for the walls. Here, the mud is packed around vertical lats, completely covering the wooden beams on the outside.
Get a nice piece of mud, a decent size.
Here we go, is that a bit right?
So, yeah. So push it in like that so it goes through the lats.
It's going to build up around
Yes,
the lats.
that's
OK,
right.
Here we go.
Yeah, that's it. And when we're doing a whole structure, generally, we start at one spot and go right round the building at
The same
about
level.
this level, and then just keep going round and round until we've built up.
These traditional techniques fell out of favour when cheap, mass-produced bricks became the construction material of choice. But Robert's carrying on a tradition of building in mud that goes back millennia and spans the globe. And the result is something rather special.
I cannot wait to hopefully come back in 1, 2 years' time and see the finished loo and see the finished walls.
You better use it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Elsewhere, Phil's out on the road again, fully embracing that convertible lifestyle.
Just got to watch I don't lose me hat.
Yeah, you don't want to ruin the ensemble. He's heading to Horncastle, a lovely little market town which apparently floods whenever a new vicar is installed at the local church. Now, let's see if Phil can make it rain at Drill Hall Antique Centre with some of his remaining £95.
Oh, look at that. This is such a good thing. The suffragette movement, Votes for Women really, was established in 1903, and there's a real resurgence in buying today anything that is suffragette related, and I think this is really cool. So we've got this little, it's a pepper caster. We've got Votes for Women on the front, and then on the back we've got We Can Make Things Hot for You, and that's clearly a relation to voting for women, and also the fact that you're putting pepper on your food to spice it up a bit. Dated Chester 1908, and that means it's in period. That is rare, rare, rare. And let me tell you, if that's in my budget, I'm just going to buy that. OK, £2,125, perhaps I'm not. I'll put it back.
Yeah, that's more like notes for women. You've already got a lot of silver anyway. So what else?
Oh, I do love a snuff box. That's quite cool, isn't it? This was sat in your pocket on your table. You took a pinch of snuff out and there you go. Oh, that's even better still. Look. Well, that is probably Scottish, and they called them miser's snuff boxes because you put your hand in there and you can only take a very, very small pinch of snuff out of there because of this shape here. So you only just take your thumb and your forefinger, priced up at £38. Might be a bit of a look at that.
Let's see what shop owner John makes of it.
John, how are you doing?
Hello there.
I quite like this little snuff box. Can you do that for 25?
I can do it for 30.
Are you a gambling man?
Yes.
Right, OK. Get a coin out.
All right.
I'll call.
OK.
If I win, it's 25 quid. If you win, it's 30 quid.
Ah, that old chestnut.
Drum roll. Go! Tails.
Heads.
Sam, blast it.
That'll teach you. Give the man his £30.
I'm pleased you got something.
I am as well, but I wish it'd been 25 quid.
Time to leave before you make any more questionable decisions. Huh. Let's go and pick up your fellow traveller.
Instantly, I can tell that you're much more comfortable being behind the wheel than being driven.
I think second gear and I both feel the same about this.
Night, night. It's a new day, to quote Nina Simone, and our shoppers in the Sunbeam are feeling good.
I'm going to ask you a very serious question, and I want you to keep a straight face when you give me the answer. Have you ever had a Lincoln sausage?
No, I've never had one, and I have to say, with them, I'm not familiar.
Because you lot have those big square sausages, don't you?
You lot.
You lot.
You lot. Do you mean the Scots?
Lordy. Yesterday, old foot-in-the-mouth Phil went on a buying binge, picking up a snuff box, a napkin clip, a silver dressing table set, and a pair of opera glasses.
I'm never without mine when I go to the opera.
Leaving him with £65 in his pocket. Natasha was no slouch either, bagging a brooch, a barrister's gown with tin, and a bee smoker, as you do.
That's super cool. It's smoking.
So, she's still got £85 to hit the shops with, if they ever get there.
Oh, hold on. Should I go to first gear? Oh!
Yeah, cool.
If you can't find it, grind.
How's that for a motto? Later, we'll be heading to an auction at Little Bytham. But first, Natasha has struck out alone towards the village of Navenby and the suitably named Navenby Antique Centre. They've got 30 or so dealers here, spread over 2 floors, so there'll be lots of variety on offer. Bound to be something in here to help her part with that remaining £85 of hers.
I believe I fall under the category millennial because I was born in the mid-80s and therefore I am a millennial. I'll say it loud and proud, and therefore I love houseplants. Just that's what happens, avocados and houseplants. But this is the thing, this terrarium is Victorian. Just by looking at it we can see it's Victorian because it's very much in the style of what's known as a Wardian case.
Named after Nathaniel Bagshaw Ward, an English doctor with a passion for botany who popularised their use for transporting and protecting exotic plants from foreign climes.
This is super elegant and this would look perfect in any millennial household.
And you could grow avocados in it.
The problem that I have with it is I have to actually take off the lid, almost like a jar for ginger or something, and put my hand all the way in from the top. So, as a person wanting to use it for houseplant purposes, it's not immensely practical.
Typical millennial. Never happy. Better keep on looking then.
It's so hard to walk past something as really decorative as this. The title's Souvenir of Edmonton, that's Canada, and this little number here, 11/100, means that 100 of these woodcuts were produced by the artist, and this was the 11th effort. Now, woodblock printing is such an amazing process. Think about the artist gouging out, using a knife that kind of looks like this, a fork almost, gouging out the design ever so delicately. The colours were placed on the block to create this lovely scene of shadows being cast on an Edmonton hill. It's definitely 1930s, but I don't recognise the name, L.P. Jones, but the handy label does say that he was Canadian, Llewellyn Petley Jones to be precise.
He was quite renowned in his native country and was even commissioned by the Alberta government to paint portraits of the Queen and Duke of Edinburgh to hang in their parliamentary chamber.
I think this is absolutely gorgeous, worth a punt. It's called Souvenir of Edmonton. Perhaps it will be my Souvenir of Navenby. Who knows? Let's have a chat.
Owner Laura is the person you need to sweet talk.
Laura, I'm sorry to interrupt you as you're busy in the cabinet.
Oh, you found something.
Really my cup of tea, this woodblock print.
Right.
I have to ask, is it yours?
It's not mine, but it's my husband's.
You own it.
Yes.
I meant, is it your cup of tea?
Well, it's definitely my husband's cup of tea. He wanted to keep this one at home, but I have to say, I said we could sell it. So.
Oh, really? OK, so wait, hold on a minute. You've got the final decision with the beer.
Oh, of course.
OK, good work. You've got £58 on it. What's the best price?
Well, given that it's my husband, and given that he is towing the line at the moment...
Oh, is it? Good to hear.
I'll be bold, and I'll say you can have it for 40.
I was going to be bolder.
Oh, OK. How bold were you going to be?
I was going to try 30, so I wonder, could we meet halfway at 35?
Oh, go on, I'll take the risk. I'll take the risk. Go on, let's say 35.
All right, OK. Thank you so much.
Right.
That's quite a discount, Laura. I hope him indoors doesn't mind. Right, Natasha, sling it in the boot, love, and let's take a powder. Philip, meanwhile, is out for a bit of a stroll. He's wended his way to the town of Grantham and the parish church of St Wulfram. There's been a church on this site since before Norman times, and the current building is really rather grand. But Phil's not here to marvel at the architecture, because tucked away in a room above the south porch is a very special collection, which he's yet to twig.
Ah, the Trig Library.
But he'll have to tackle the stairs first.
Lord above. Brian, how are you?
I'm well. Welcome.
Oh, welcome indeed. Do you come up those stairs every day?
Not now. I used to do when I was verger here.
Brian Buttery carried out that role for over 22 years, and part of his duties were to look after this amazing library containing some of the very earliest printed books. It's considered to be England's first public reference library, and it's all thanks to one man.
Francis Trigg was rector of Welburn, a village south of Lincoln. Must have had some connection with Grantham because he wanted the people of Grantham to be able to come and read books in a library, and he supplied the monies for the books to be bought. But it was a job lot, I believe. They went to Cambridge and bought all these books of all sorts and sizes and all different subjects and made the library.
Trigg's £100 donation in 1598, over 20,000 in today's money, bought a selection of around 240 printed volumes. Many of the books are ecclesiastical in nature and mostly are written in Latin. A few are now very rare indeed.
I've heard this word incunable.
Incunabula. Books before 1501.
Right.
Believe it or not, it comes from the Latin for cradle.
Cradle. Well, I
Yes.
suppose that's a cradle of learning almost or something.
Well, the first beginnings of printing.
And have you got any here?
Two, yes.
Two?
We have a book of sermons and a book of law. Interesting sermon, 3.5 hours on how to love, choose and cherish a wife.
There are non-religious works as well, books on chemistry, bestiaries, and one in particular that should appeal to former geography teacher Phil.
This is a copy of the book that Christopher Columbus read in Seville to decide that he could sail west and find the East Indies. And of course he sailed west and found America.
That's fantastic. What I think is interesting is if you look at all these books, the first thing that occurs to me is they're all back to front and the title is written in script across the pages.
Yes, well, originally they were all attached to chains and attached to the wall so that you couldn't take them away. But if you put them that way around, the chains would come between the books and damage them even further.
So is this a 16th century chain?
Yes, they were forged in Grantham at the time.
That's pretty cool in its own right, isn't it?
You can still study in the library today, over 400 years after it was created. But back in the 17th century, there was one particularly famous Grantham resident who was taught just next door and may well have had his own library card.
So that's really interesting, Brian. Isaac Newton taught here?
Yes, he came when he was 11 years old to be taught here at the King's School. The headmaster would have the key to the library, so there was a good chance that Isaac Newton would come and read the books in our library.
I'm feeling a bit nervous under this tree because an apple might drop on our head. Let's just go walk this way, Brian.
Well, we don't want to be involved with gravity at this stage.
No, not at our time of life.
Now it's the Law of Antiques attraction that's pulling our Natasha to her next destination. She's popped over the county line into Nottinghamshire and Newark-on-Trent. First dibs on the Albert Street Antiques Centre and £50 left to spend. But it won't be long before you-know-who turns up. So what catches her eye?
Here you've got a lovely cigar box. Now this is just classic Art Nouveau. So let's get rid of the sign that says cigars entirely, and we just have these lovely copper mounts at the top, super organic. You've got stylised, I guess, flowers. They're very Macintosh meets French Art Nouveau. And then you reveal this lovely mount in the centre that says cigars. The thing that's so nice about it is not just that it gives this a purpose, it's the font. If you think of those posters of turn of the century, Belle Epoque France, it's that font, and you see it above the Fontainebleau Paris metro sign. It's got the look, turn of the century, tick, I love it. A nice bit of oak, tick, I love it.
Sounds like a contender then. £77 on the ticket though. Ah, Worcester's best dressed man has arrived.
Don't hear a squeak out of you.
He's in a slightly better financial position with £65 still in his wallet. So what's the plan, Phil?
I think it's time to get back to the Cyril Heartland. So far on this trip, I have bought little bits of silver and other quaint, sweet, nice things, and I think it's time I bought big old lumps again. This is a roadside market to St Anne's Square, and a lot of these type of things were repro, but I think this one, blimey, that's heavy. I think that's absolutely fine. Ooh, but it's also £395, which is just a touch out of my pocket.
Ever so slightly. But don't give up on the big lumps just yet.
Look at that, will you? Dear, 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 dear.
Philip Cyril, you look super English right now, in a pink stripy scarf with a boater hat and some sort of agricultural tool.
Let me tell you, my old man, who was a market gardener, had me using one of these when I was a kid. So there's a little sort of ridger at the back, and you push this. I'll tell you what, that's just got harder work, because I'm just going to leave it there. I don't want to know it.
Have we just trudged up a memory? Oh, Phil, hold on, are you okay?
Oh dear, perhaps we need something to recall happier childhood moments.
I quite like that. It says here, shed art. So this is something that some dad has knocked up in his shed for his son. And I would think it was probably made 50s. And it looks to me like it's almost a model of a First World War battleship. And it's made of, well, just a lump of old wood, really. But all this plasterwork here that somebody's painted is quite good. It's £68, which is like way, way, way too much money. Am I going to be up the creek without a paddle? Or is this going to sail me through choppy waters to victory? I can't think of any more naval puns, actually, so I'm just going to have to call Simon over. Simon!
All hands on deck. Here comes the captain of the ship. Shop.
Are you open to spirited offers?
I'm open to offers, yeah.
I can give you 30 quid for it. You don't want to look at the price, it'll just upset you. And I can't stand rows at this time of day.
No, I can't quite get to 30. I can do 40.
Meet me halfway and I'll have it with you.
Right.
Ka-ching, get in there.
Well, that was all ship shape and Bristol fashion.
I think that's a bit of fun. Thank you very, very much for that. Shed art. I've learnt a new term.
Every day's a school day, Phil. Natasha, meanwhile, has been drawn back to that box. Time to see if Simon will be kind to you. Wait a minute. Let's just back up.
OK, so I missed one of these before. When I first started working at the auction house in Glasgow, I was entrusted to man the counter with people coming in for valuations, and I took in something very similar, and I put it into the mixed general sale in a mixed lot of glass, and it turned out to be a Christopher Dresser Clutha vase and worth £1,500, £2,000. But I'm thinking, can I walk past something similar again? I missed it once. It would be egg on my face if I missed it twice. It's not Clutha glass, but it's certainly inspired by it. Yeah, it's coming with me. Come on. And it doesn't have a price. Yes, it's definitely coming with me.
All right, now we'll have a chat with Simon.
I've scoured the place, and these are my top picks. I love this cigar box. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. But this slightly more unusual studio glass vase I love for a different reason altogether.
What's on it?
77 on this. Nothing on this.
It's not free.
It's not free? Oh.
50 is the best on that.
50, OK.
That is the best. And 10 is the best on that.
It's a no-brainer. I'll shake your hand for £10 for the vase.
It's like it was meant to be. Close, but no cigar for the box. Now, there's only one place left to go.
Take me to Stamford, Natasha.
OK, that'll be £20.
Just watch this gate first,
Yeah.
though. Yeah.
But before that, let's get some shut-eye, eh? Auction day dawns on this charming little village, not a million miles away from Stamford.
Phil, this is our chance to set the bar.
Oh,
What do you think?
I think it's either kick off or kick out, isn't it?
You get out of here.
Yeah, oh, look at this.
No fisticuffs, please. Our pair set forth from Louth and are back in Lincolnshire at Little Bytham, here to do battle at the Stamford auction rooms with internet bidding. Natasha spent £160 on her 5 auction lots, while Philip got through £170, also on 5 lots.
It's not unusual to buy a snuff box, is it? How fitting it is that Philip Serrell should buy what's known as a
Raskin
miser's
shop.
snuff box. Oh, there he is, the miser's.
Look what I found. I know.
You're a barrister, you must
No,
be
no, no,
earning
no, I'm a
fortune.
teacher. I'm a teacher. This is the only way I'm ever going to get a degree cloak this.
Excuse me, sir, how much did you pay for this?
£30.
And, sir, how much is it worth?
Hopefully more than £30. I've got a question for you. How much did you pay for this?
65?
I'm going to give you some lines. Raskin sharp, I must not pay so much for gowns.
Ooh, he's very strict, isn't he? But what marks will auctioneer Jessica Wall give for their homework?
5. The collar clip is interesting. I mean, what a thing to actually wear at a dinner party. I would probably see this going at sort of £20 to £40. If we get lucky, maybe a little bit more. My favourite item is most certainly the Art Deco brooch, and I think that we still have lots of collectors out there for that sort of thing, and I think that it will do very well on the day. The First World War battleship is interesting if you like that sort of thing. I personally wouldn't know what to do with it, so for me it's not the greatest of the pieces that we've got to choose from today.
Must try harder, Phil. Now, children, asseyez-vous.
This is cool. I have a cushion. Would you like it?
No. Might need it, but I don't want it.
Now you're comfy, let's start off with Natasha's doggy brooch. Top auctioneers recommend it.
We're going to start this lot off on commission. We're going 5, 10, 15, 20 at £20. Looking for 25 now. At 20, looking for 25. 25 on the net. Buy me at 30, looking for 35 now. At £30, looking for 35. 35 on the net, looking for 40 now. At £35 on the net. Anything more in the room? At £35, are we all done? I'm going to sell then. I'm selling at 35.
35. OK.
Fetched a tidy sum there, Tasha.
What I love about you is you always smile. Don't you? Now I'm working with you, I'm going to try that. I'm going to be smiley Phil.
But Grump is your thing, Philip. His dressing table set is up next. Excited.
Oh, there's a wee tap of the foot.
It's anxiety. It's anxiety.
50 I have. At £50. Look at 55. At £55, give us 60. 60, 65. It's 65 now. It's 70. 75, sir? It's 75. 80. At 80. 90. At £80 then. Selling at 80.
No. No.
Yes, yes. I bet he's not Smiley Phil now.
Teapot.
Really sad. Because I genuinely...
What should we say to this time? Over £20.
Genuinely loved it.
Well, let's see how her dresser-style vase does. There's a point of principle at stake here.
£20 on the net. Looking for 25 now. 25. Looking for 30 now. At £25 in the room. Looking for 30. 30. 35, sir? 35 now. Back in the room at 35.
Oh.
Looking for 40. 40 on the net. 45, sir? 45 now. At 45. Looking for 50. At £45 then. In the room. Anything more on the net. Selling at 45.
The people of Stamford have great taste, don't they?
Indeed they do. And what's more, your reputation has been restored, girl.
This is the smiling assassin here. Oh, look at that.
I can see someone ordering on the internet. You're going to be like, no.
It's a very bad Scottish accent.
You're not kidding there. Now, will his opera glasses hit a high note?
OK, so who's actually buying those?
Someone who's going to go to the opera and hasn't got a pair of glasses.
Ask a silly question.
At £15, I'll give you 20 now. 20 at the back of the room, at 20. Commission's out, at £20 in the room. At £20, we're all done, and we've finished. Sitting on the net.
Isn't it?
At £20, right at the back there at 20. I'm going to sell then. At £20, selling at 20. 70.
Cyril strikes again.
Only £5, though. Shame it wasn't a tenner.
For yesterday's antique, what more could you ask?
Yesterday's man.
All rise. The barrister's gown and tin are up now.
At £15, I'll give you 20. 20 on the internet. At 20, looking for 25 now. 30 on
criminal.
now. At 30, 35, 40 now. At 40, anything in the room? Are we all done? Anything in the room? At £40 on the internet. Selling then at 40.
That is definitely guilty.
I'm still smiling.
Guilty as charged.
Oh, dear. I think it's been sent down.
Do you know, that's just a chunk, isn't it? 25 is a chunk. And all that profit I made on the vase, just...
Right, this one's for all the messy eaters out there. The napkin clip.
At £10, 15 on the net. At 20 now. 20. At £20 back in the room. Looking for 25 now. At £20, looking for 25. Are we all done? Are we sure? At £20
not really
in the room and at 20.
expensive,
I'm going to sell them at £20.
A profit's a profit.
£5 seems to be his limit, though. But it's all in the right direction.
I think my glass is suddenly becoming half full and not half empty.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's nice, isn't it?
As is this, Natasha's limited edition print of Edmonton.
At £20, any advance on 20? Anything more on the
colours.
net? 25 on the net. That would make it 30 now. At £30. So on commission, at £30, we're all done. Selling then at 30.
Ah, that's a shame. No Canadians in the house today, obviously.
It's done all right.
Time for Phil's bit of old shed work. And cue more naval puns.
Do you know what? This could be like the Bismarck. I could get scuttled here.
20 on the net.
20 right at the back of the room there at £20. Looking for 25 now at
These
20.
people have got better
25
taste than I
Rossi.
thought.
At £20 in the room at 20. Any advance on 20? I'm going to sell then to the room bidder at £20, selling at 20.
A cheap piece of sculpture.
There's a reason for that.
191 is the sapphire.
I would have said that this was well and truly sunk if it wasn't such a cliche.
When I bought that, I really thought that stood me a chance of making a profit. And as time goes by, you realise that rose-tinted spectacles don't even come anywhere close to describing your view.
Now, what do you buy an apiarist for Christmas? Natasha's last lot.
£10, right? 10 do I see? £10 at the back of the room. Yay. 15 on the net. 20?
Go on.
20. Back in the room with 20. Thank you. 20. We'll give you 25 now. Anything more on the net? 25. 30? At £25.
Go
on the
on,
net.
come on.
£25. Are we all done?
One more.
Anything more? At 25. So £25.
You know,
Why are people laughing at me? Why are they laughing?
I guess it was just not meant to be.
A £5 loss seems
you'd have settled for that 10
miraculous.
years ago,
Yeah.
wouldn't you?
15.
Finally, it's Philip's miser's snuff box. Let's hope the bidders have deep pockets.
This is my favourite lot. This is my really favourite lot. I would love to own this.
As a miser.
They don't come much miserly, do they?
And we have got plenty of bids on this.
Ooh.
We're going around at 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, £85. We're giving
nice.
90 now. At 85, looking for 90.
Philip,
At £85, we're giving 90 now.
Sure,
At £85, I can see people hovering. 90 on the net now. 90, looking for 100.
Look how
At
relaxed you
£90
are.
on the internet. At 90, 100 now. At 100 on the net. I can still see people hovering on the internet. If you're going to bid now on the net. I'm selling then at 100.
Fist bump. Nice work.
No penny pinching there. Well done, old bean.
We'd better do some sums, haven't we?
Some sums.
Yeah.
You leave that to me, chaps. I've done all the workings out. Natasha's fortunes took a little dip with a loss after auction costs of £16.50, leaving her with £183.50 to play with next time. Phil, on the other hand, saw his £200 starting budget show a profit, so he takes the lead after costs with a new total of £226.80. So well done, Phil.
Well.
Obviously, you did better. You've gone a wee bit up. I've gone a wee bit down.
Yeah, but it's the first leg of our trip, and I got a real horrible feeling that you're out to get me this time.
Do you think so?
I do, yeah.
Ugh, don't be so silly.
Really?
Well, we'll soon find out.